So we're gonna go ahead and intro ourselves. Mario will start off, and then Juan and myself, and we'll take it back to Mario. So y'all know that guy, and you know this guy probably. I don't know about me. So Mario, who are you? Tell us more about yourself.
Well, thank you, Carlos. So I want to welcome everybody. First of all, appreciate y'all coming out. This means a lot to us. And today we're here, or for those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Mario Ortiz. I play a little bit of keyboard with the Jake Bettis band. I'm a producer. I work with probably everybody in this industry, from studio tracks or gigs. So I want to say I know a little bit about the genre. So basically what we're doing today is talking about, if y'all saw the video that we posted, we had the song Un Amigo Tendrás that was recorded by Jake Bettis. And that song was written by my friend Juan Trevino. And it won Best Tejano Album and Song of the Year, and was also nominated for that Grammy. Unfortunately, we didn't win the Grammy, but there's always next year.
But what?
Yeah. So I'm going to pass it over to Juan, and what Juan is going to talk about today is basically how he gets inspired to write these hit songs and what he does to pitch the songs to certain artists and stuff like that. So I'm going to pass it over to Juan right now.
Hi everybody, gracias a todos por venir. Next Juan Trevino. I've written songs for mostly también everybody in Tejano music, David Vegas Tejano, I won back-to-back Song of the Year at Tejano Music Awards with the Adicta song and Amigo Tendrás. And last year I won the Latin Grammy for one of my songs on my album, featuring AJ Castillo, Siempre Es Así, so I was blessed. And I'm happy to share with you whatever I can aportar so people can take this to the next level from where they're at right now as far as writing.
So to the far right, for those of you that don't know my friend Carlos, he's an A&R and publishing director for Azteca Music Group. That label has some big names on there, and this guy is the one that makes things happen for these artists. So I'm going to pass it over to Carlos real quick.
Well, I'm from San Antonio, born and raised. I'm an accordion player. In the 90s, I used to play with several Tejano bands back in the day. Then I became a mariachi. And I've been playing mariachi music for 20 years now. Mariachi Campanas America, about 14 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. I enjoyed the business end of music, especially songwriting, working with the songwriters, but more importantly, how they get paid. How can we get paid? How can we all make some kind of money to sustain a career in this business? That's been my forte forever. And with the changes in the industry as far as overall in the music business, from physical product to the vinyls you have right there yourself, to hearing it right here. So it was one of these things to adapt, utilize it to the best of your advantage to keep going in this business. So guys are going to talk about the creative. I'll chime in here and there on their part, and then when it turns over to me, I'm going to talk a little bit about marketing and promotion in this new world of digital era. And at the end, I want to talk about fans, as far as I have some fans here. How can you help? How can you be engaged and give us feedback as well? Okay, so I'm going to turn it back to Mario, and we'll get formally started. Thanks.
Okay, so you guys are going to see my notes. So just, we didn't plan on this, but I'm going to just read off some stuff. But basically, the way it starts, for a singer or an artist, you're wanting to record an album or a track. So what is the first step you're going to take? Well, the first thing is budget. You have to have money, of course. Some people say, or they talk about musicians, and they think that we do this for fun. Yeah, we do it for fun, but it's work as well. You know what I mean? musicians, you already know it's a lot of time and dedication, and whether it's a gig or in the studio, it's work. And don't get me wrong, it's fun too. But speaking for myself, I do this 24/7. I don't have a 9 to 5. I don't do anything like that. You know, I'm blessed to be able to do this for a living, and pay my bills. You know, so yeah. Starting off, of course, you have to have a budget. So once you have that budget, then the next step usually is finding the right producer. There's a lot of producers that will start off low or start off high as far as price range. Everybody's different. When you're choosing the producer, I recommend you doing your research, you know, whether it's getting on Facebook, YouTube, or radio, or whatever, especially with radio. That's kind of why we're here today, is just getting your songs on radio and for people to hear your stuff, right? So do your research on your producers, whether it's new artists or the veterans. You listen and ask yourself, who did that song? Who produced that? Who's playing on that track? So choose your producer, you do your research, and talk about the budget. Now, sometimes, speaking for myself, sometimes it's like a game, you know, with the budget. They'll call me up and ask me, well, how much for a track or how much for an album? And sometimes I tend to hold back a little bit because, like, I get it. It's hard to spend thousands of dollars or even hundreds of dollars on music or your project, you know what I mean? It's a little scary sometimes, but it's an investment as an artist, as a musician. And it's a very good investment, especially if you're going to dedicate your life to this, right? So sometimes, as far as me,
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
So I wanted to add to that as far as, like, you know, for the emerging or upcoming artists, or those that want to be involved in a career as an artist, as a musician, et cetera, et cetera. So just understand that it takes an investment, it takes effort, it takes resources. And I would say resources can mean a number of things. It's not just money, honestly. It's money and all blood, sweat, and tears, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a very good point, you know, off the bat. You want to record a track, record an album, and you're talking to a producer, just bear in mind that it's going to take effort and investment.
Yeah, and then, you know, going back to what I was saying, you know, when they're asking for the prices, you know, I can quote you a price, but Joe Blow over here can quote you, you know, he'll go, you know, 10 times lower than, you know, than what I'm going to quote you. So that's where you kind of compare and figure out, well, what is this guy going to offer? Where over here, you know, I'll guarantee you good quality recording with great musicians and great mixing and mastering, versus a guy that just bought a laptop and thinks that he can mix an album with plugins and stuff like that. And yeah, nowadays it's getting to that point to where everybody can just do a recording on a laptop, but you can tell the difference between a home studio and a professional recording studio. You know, well, I guess the home studios, we call them the bedroom studios, right? Because everybody sets up their gear inside the bedroom and just hang up mics, versus the professional recording studio where you have great gear, you know, mic preamps and good instruments and the big consoles and stuff like that. So just understand that that's why we charge what we charge, because you're gonna get good product, you're gonna get great product. Now, as far as getting your stuff on the radio, we'll talk about that a little later, but some producers, they'll promise you the world. You know, yeah, come record with me and I'll get you on, you know, San Antonio, we have KXTN, which is, I guess, the #1 Tejano station in your world, right? That's their logo. So a lot of producers will say that. That's the pitch sale that they're going to give you. No, I can get you on this, and I can do this, and da 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 da. And you know, sometimes people, I don't want to say fall for it, but they go along with that. And at the end of the day, when you have your product, now they're stuck. So we'll get to that in a little while, and that's when Carlos will speak on that. So now, okay, you found your producer. You got your budget. You agreed to the price, and we get started. So now, what's the next step? Well, this is where Juan comes in. Sometimes the artists will bring their own songs, or they want to do covers, or they'll ask the producer if they can find songs for the artist. So a lot has to do with networking too. If you're not out there networking, you're not going to have connections. Like, that's how we met, you know, just networking. And I'm able to call Juan when I need songs, and other songwriters as well. You know, there's tons of other songwriters, but when I know that this artist is going to do something, I'm going to call the right songwriter, which is my man right here. So I guess I'm going to pass it over to Juan so he can kind of speak on what inspires him to write these songs and how he pitches up to these artists and stuff like that when the producers aren't calling him for songs. So, yeah, Juan, anything you want to talk about? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, well, it's, for me, really, it's not a technique. I just feel like it comes to me. I mean, if you write from the heart, it's going to be good. Lyrically, you got to get better lyrically. Because at the beginning, all your songs to you are going to be real good. That's the way I was. Honestly, yeah. So, I mean, it takes practice, you know, over and over. But lyrically, sometimes if you don't, when I write a song, I write the melody at the same time as I do the words. Because if I get a melody, then I would have to fit certain words that I normally don't use for that song. So I do melody, I do the verse, melody, and I write the lyrics, and then I sing my way to the next part of the song. Yeah.
You as a songwriter, do you play instrument yourself, or you just write and fill out your heart?
No, I play a little bit of everything. Yeah.
You're very powerful.
Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So I mean, then the process after that, I used to record like a whole production and give it to the bands like that. Oh, I'm gonna make this one like sound like Jay Bettis, give it to Jay. This one like Jay. And at the end of the day, I found that from my experience that it's a waste of time. Now my demos is just the piano or singing, or just the guitar and me singing, because the band gets the song, you know, just they hear it the way it came out from me, but now they're gonna put their part in it to make it sound like the band. And I mean, there's bands that they like it when you do the whole little production for the song, because I guess you could say they're a little bit lazy. But you know, as far as for me, when you pitch a song to a band, it has to be just guitar and voice, because that's the soul of the song. That's what they're gonna hear. The lyric, that's how they're gonna listen to the lyrics. If you put drums and all this stuff behind it, then yeah. Mano from the Mafia told me one time, songwriters shouldn't be producers. This was back when I started writing. And it's the same thing. And I mean, from there, that's when I started catching on to, I'll do things a little different. And you got to network too. I mean, I started from the bottom. I used to go to dances with my tapes. But my tapes. I used to give it to the band. This is here's a little song, hopefully I like it with my number on the tape. I'll never hear, but I had my band, Trevino back in the day, so I met a lot of bands through the years, so that's how I started giving them more songs and knowing. That's how I met Mario, because I worked with Deli a lot for a while, writing music for them. And I think Lalo's the one that told him about me. So, I mean, it's just more than anything.
So I'm gonna play like chief panelist here and ask them questions, because Mario talked about something real quick as far as like if it's a new artist or a new client, somebody that's new that's coming up, and they're gonna hire you, Mario. Sometimes if it's a new artist, it's the most difficult thing when you have to tell the artist, look, I've reached out to writers and they're not, within the sense. So like one of the things in a personal experience, right, on my end, and we've talked about this with all of us before, is cover songs. We've always talked about, it's always a little bit easier, obviously, to cover a song. There's a new artist. The one thing I'll always recommend, and I don't know if the guys will agree with me, is that find a song that has not been done over and over and over and over and over again. Please, please. One of the things that I do with at Azteca with my bands is like, in every album, they record one cover. I mean, no tenga la toma. But they always try to find one that, Joe Schmo didn't do it, or it hasn't been done in 15 years or whatever. And that's pretty cool. But it takes time, but with YouTube and everything, you can find, some great songs. I forgot Chen did a banda song on the last album. It's an actual banda song from a number of years back. So it's finding that cover song that you can, that hasn't been done over and over again. Like it and have your taste to it, your style. But yes, if you have the opportunity to work with Mario, that he can reach out to one of the writers like Juan and say, check out the voice on this artist. And Juan, the writer, will be like, it's a good artist, Mario's going to be behind it, and it's going to sound good. So Juan might sometimes give up a song. Maybe. I'll pass it back to you. Leave it there.
No, yeah, I mean, this is also my job, So it's hard sometimes, when somebody's just starting off asking for songs, for me to give them songs. I also need to see something in return, not just even just have a marketing plan or show me something that you're gonna be out there, which you're gonna talk about the marketing. But yeah, it's not that I don't want to give them songs. I will, but you got to show me the effort that you're gonna put something behind the song.
As much effort as you put in.
Yeah.
Juan, when you start your songwriting, do you start with a hook?
No. I start with the word. I usually hear a word, and I write it on my phone, or a little sentence. I'll text it to myself, and then when I go home, then I'll work from the verse or the word that I have on there. But I never do anything from the hook unless I collaborate with other artists that
And on the verse,
yeah. Like they give me the melody, then I'll that's the only way I work like that. But I always start just from, I don't know where the song's going from the beginning. That's why I said that sometimes it feels like I'm not even writing it. Because when I started, I don't know where the song is going. Since I started from the beginning, everything at the same time.
So going back to what you were talking about as far as collaborating with other artists or even writers, maybe Carlos can touch on this real quick. How everybody wants to be a part of the track. They want their name on there, they want the credit. And so they always ask about the ghostwriters or
My urban brother.
yeah, that's 10 writers on the track. Yeah, that's another level, right? But, so, how do they split the percentages?
Let's spend a little time on that, on the creation of the song. So, you mentioned something. So your name, please. John, you mentioned about, the hook, right? So that's me. Like a melody will come to my mind or something right away, and then tengo la fortuna que mis papás son de Mexico, but my first language is English. I am not gonna work on lyrics in Spanish. De respeto porque sé que no lo voy a mandar a leche. So that's why I'll team up. I've written 1 or 2 songs with Juan, and I've got a base of writers and people that are just great lyricists. Honestly, not that I don't trust what I can put out, but what I write, if I wrote a song myself, lyric and melody wise, it would probably take me a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I'll probably take these guys a day, because they know how to word it. So it's that partnership, that collaboration, and understanding that maybe 2 hits is better than one kind of thing. Sometimes three, maybe 4. But yeah, after that it becomes, not an out political thing. Everybody wants to cut a piece of the pie. Everybody's thinking that's going to generate so much money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can talk a little about that later on, but yeah, I mean, emerging artists that have an idea and a melody in mind is see how you can collaborate with somebody that could work with you. If we're going to do Spanish language music, we should be working with people that know that language, a lyricist at least. My first one was my dad.
Yeah, touching on that real quick, I wanted to just interrupt it. And for us Tejanos, we're very, what's the word, mucho?
Well, they say poncho. We're proud too, but you know what? Like, it's crazy. 10 years ago, sorry, Mario. 10 years ago, I work in regional Mexican music, and that's Mexican, nationals, la gente, they're from Mexico City. To my people, Mexico City, I love you. But they can be a little, aggressive, and and if you don't speak the language correctly, 10 years ago it was tough. Now it's a different story when you got people singing Despacito, et cetera. The Spanglish is in, but it has to be, it's treaded lightly, if it makes sense. You have to walk with it on a fine line, honestly.
So it's like our crowd a little more forgiving then, because I've worked with some veterans that their Spanish sucks.
One of the things, that I've learned as an A&R guy is that when we go into even my norteño bands, La Maquinaria, the norteño, when the vocalist goes in, he makes sure that this one engineer that I work with is there, because that guy's going to vocally guide him. They both have a sheet, printed out lyrics. So Sergio Mosca's in the vocal booth recording, and he's got a set of lyrics, and then so does Danny, the other engineer, who was like, ¿sabes qué? Dijiste esto, abre la boca cuando hablas esta palabra para poder. It's just incredible the tips that these guys are doing. So it's like, yeah, no matter what, we're working in Spanish language music, let's give it all our efforts and make sure that it comes out great. And if it's Spanglish, what's funny? That has to be treated even more carefully too, because you're combining 2 different types of languages. So all the vowels, consonants, etc. Like, you want to not get crazy into it, but you want to make sure that it flows fine. It doesn't make you sound. There was a norteño band from LA like 2-3 years back covering that was it the Bruno Mars or the Justin Bieber song? You remember that? I don't want to say the band's name, but the accent. Oh my God, how rough! that was bad. But then I had a norteño band wanting to do just recently, La Energía Norteña wanted to do English pop songs, norteño sex style, but sung in English. And they did. And they spent 4 days with the gentleman's partner to help them vocally guide them, because they're used to singing in Spanish. Now they're going to sing in English, but they grew up in Dallas. So it's easy for them to speak English, but when they have to sing it, they're like, whoa. They understand, they're afraid that there might be an accent. If you hear the album, it's freaking incredible. They did a great job. Anyway, back to the songwriter. The percentage splits. It can get hairy, because what if you have gentleman A over here just contribute 2 or 3 words to the whole entire thing?
Exactly. Is he merited to have 50%, 25%, 40%? It's funny, no matter what, at the end of the day, we're all creative individuals and we work at this, but you should have, no matter what, that conversation before you get to that. You know what I mean? When you're already that way, or even already here for sale, and you don't have that discussed, it just becomes a nightmare. Right? And relationships get lost and people get upset. I've always been pretty open with numbers. Like, if you talk to me in the hallway, oh yeah, I blew $100 today or something. I know some people are like, I don't want to mention things that I've done in that nature, spend money or whatever. But you should be able to have that conversation. We wrote a song together, the 3 of us. It was based on your idea. I contributed maybe a little bit to it, but here's the lyricist man. So I should not, deserve majority pie. And you guys should slap me in the face if I ask for it. Simple as that. Does that make sense? And I guess it goes both ways when you're part of the music production too, because I've worked with other producers, and sometimes I do all the work and don't get credit for it.
That's okay. So that, I mean, I've seen that situation where, you know, if you've done a lot of creation, even into the song itself, and that's hip hop. Like hip hop right away. Like if, you know, the guy who's creating the beat is creating the base of this composition. Lyricist comes in, or the featuring comes in, and they create the lyrics. Right? So there's a true joint, you know, producer, writer, creation there. With us, when they hire maybe someone like a producer, the song's already here. However, it's not. Let's say Juan brought you a song that, or another writer brought you a song that's brand new, but you feel that, hey, guess what? When I've done this, on the chorus, I really feel we changed the melody here to just be more dynamic than what it is. We're gonna have a hit. That's happened to me twice already, and that the writer actually gave me like 5-10% of the writer's share. And I'm like, no, man, I just said this. You changed, and you made it better. So that's cool. They give me credit. Sometimes people don't, and I've been on that situation too. So it's like you.
So I guess that's where you kind of just have to speak up, right? And
You work with the individuals. You work with the people that you know. If you work with the people you want to that share your vision.
yeah.
If you're an artist and they share your vision with you, I mean, then there's going to be good, fluid conversations.
Yeah, because sometimes like the newer producers or the guys that are new to the game, sometimes they're afraid to speak up because, for instance, if you're part of a big project, and if you do speak up, maybe you might get kicked off of that project. So you kind of tend to hold back a little bit, not say anything, and then at the end of the day,
And it happens at the beginning of somebody's career. It really does.
Yeah.
There's a buddy in San Antonio that was one of the 2 co-writers of a major Jamie Foxx song, major monster hit from back like in the early 2000s, and from what it was to who's listed on the credits at the end of the day, there's like 5 other writers. Those guys didn't even know. Oh, we're on Facebook Live, sorry. So we're like. So it's one of those things where, you know, when you're in the beginning of your career, you kind of, you might have to find that situation. But I've always said that, you know what, in the road of life, there's always another brick wall to climb. Some of them are 4 feet, some are 2, some are 10. So it's kind of like you come across a situation where you're like, look, this seems like a good opportunity to work with Joe Schmo over here, Joe Schmo here, whoever. You know, is it worth the risk, investment, time, the resources? And you know what? There's never a guarantee in this business or in any business. You know, it's the time and effort we put in to make something come out of it.
okay.
Looking at your notes too. Songs, are we good? I know you mentioned ASCAP BMIC set. We can talk about that later.
Yeah.
Go to production.
Okay,
Here's some
so
songs.
yeah. Okay, so let's go to the part where you already have your song ready to go. So you're ready to start production on your single, whether it's your single or your album. What are the first steps that we do to get this rolling, right? As a producer, it depends if I'm recording a band or just an artist that's looking for full production. So what does that mean? Well, let's say Ray, you come to me, hey man, I want to record a song, but I don't have a band. I just want to put some music out. So now it's my job as a producer to find studio musicians to make this happen for you. Now we go back to the budget. Well, I only have so much. And I'll tell you, well, if you want certain cats, you know, studio musician buddies, to record on this track, this is what it's gonna cost, you know. Sometimes as a producer, if the budget is a little low, we'll try to make ends meet, right? We'll try to make it happen. Because nowadays, we can do sampling, you know. we use drum loops and stuff like that. Now, if you're a band and you want to come in and record your band, sometimes the band wants to record live, which is fine with the producer. The only thing that the producer wants is for the band to be prepared. You don't want to come in the studio and not know the song, or you're coming in with your guitar with old strings, your accordion has broken reeds, you know. Make sure you study and just be prepared, because then you're wasting studio time and it's more money that you have to put out.
I'm so gonna interview
Yeah.
there. So even with me with the artists, like our established artists, they're machines. So like they've been hustling, they've been touring, recording for years. So they know that they go in the studio, it's time to work. It's time to spend that time, because they're dedicating hours, money, investment, resource, time away from the family to get that done, right? And then I've seen it with some of my newer artists, trying to develop. Hey, you know what? You gotta come in prepared. You gotta do this. You gotta do that. You gotta. And I usually use the same engineers, like 2 or 3 same guys over there in San Antonio that know the genre well, and so I don't have to be there babysitting the production, right? And sure enough, they'll tell me, this new developing artist brought. They didn't come in prepared. They came in with the basic base of a production or an idea. We have a song, but they didn't even have anything besides the song in their hand. And that's difficult on all of us, because at the end of the day, me as a company, I gotta go back to my people and say, okay, well, these guys spent an extra day in the studio, at least 18 hours or 16 hours, whatever. And that's money that the company has to pay. Or if you're a new artist, it's money you have to pay. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, let's come in, prepare, work on the life. If it's a band, if it's a solo artist, it's a different story. Everything falls on you.